Hello everybody, how's your day going? It's Hyper Mario 24, and it's about flipping time I got this video out and ready to go. I just want to say this right now guys, it shouldn't have taken me so long to make this video. I know that I've been telling you guys that I've been working a lot lately and dealing with tiredness and stress, not to mention that making a long video like this will take some time and dedication to finish. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, most of the reason why this video took so long is because I was just being lazy with this video, which I'm ashamed to say because you guys know what this video is going to be about. My all-time favorite character Wario, and how I fell in love with the magnificent butthole. I just don't know why I was having a hard time making something like this. Was it the editing? Work? Not much free time on my hands? Gosh knows I already have a hard time keeping up with you guys in my Discord. I don't know. Regardless, I just want to apologize to you guys for having to wait so long for this. But we're here now, and I am ready to go. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get this started. And what better way to start is from the beginning. I was born in the year 1994, where games like the handheld era was starting to make their rounds in popularity. And when you know it, this is the year where Wario was starting to make a name for himself, starring in his very own popular series, Wario Land. It was like a happy coincidence being born that year. Unfortunately, because I was born in that year, I didn't know anything about video games. As you can see, being a newborn, you kinda have mashed potatoes for brains, so you wouldn't know what the heck a game is or how to play one to begin with. So, why don't we skip a few years ahead to where I actually first met Wario. Ah, the N64 days. Now these are where my nostalgia for my childhood are strong, and for good reason. I had a bunch of games on the N64 that were just so darn fun and memorable to me, and I still have them to this day. They're a bit old, and I usually have to blow on them to get them working, despite the back of the cartridge saying to not blow on the edge of the connector. But hey, if the game works, I'm going to keep doing it, and my games still hold up and play well. Now, I really can't remember when and what was my first game. I could say it was Super Mario Bros., but it's really hard to say because I don't remember playing the game that much. So I'm going to play it safe and say that Mario Party was my first game I ever played. Now playing this game for the first time, and just getting into the Mario series, I had no idea who any of these characters were, or what they were talking about. But I was really into this cutscene with all the characters doing odd movements, and the first character I see doing all this is this guy. Yeah, I didn't know who this dude was called back then, and I didn't really care for him at the time. I was more into Yoshi. I was just in love with Yoshi back then. I never stopped playing as him. I think I was fascinated by his polygon-looking design, how his back looked like a saddle that made me want to ride him, the fact that his entire body was green, and it just so happens my favorite color is green, and I love his sound effects whenever he wins or loses. Plus, I found out later over the years that Yoshi was actually a dinosaur, and that made me love him even more. So, as the years went on, and with me finally attending school like everyone else, I started to play other games and consoles that weren't actually by Nintendo. You guys know what I'm talking about, the PlayStation and Xbox games. Yeah, believe it or not, Nintendo wasn't the only one making games, and with me being a huge fan of video games, I was curious to see what these consoles had to offer. I'm glad I did too, because I got to play and meet some other cool character mascots, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, two of some of my favorite video game characters to this day, and I also can't wait for the new Crash Bandicoot 4 coming out really soon. Seriously, I am excited for it. Now, even though I played some games that weren't made by Nintendo, I was still pretty much a Nintendo fanboy, because they just had a variety of fun games for me. And I was more into the light-hearted fun games rather than the serious, dark, moody ones. Which, I still play some of those games, don't get me wrong. But Nintendo always caught my attention whenever they announced a new game, and I was always excited for the next one. Now, I'm going to be here all day if I start talking about my experience with video games. So, let's skip ahead and finally start talking about the real reason why you guys are here. Wario. But before we talk about him, we have to go to the GameCube era of my childhood. Man, that intro never gets old. The Nintendo GameCube was a blast for me to play while growing up. I think I also remember the first game I got for the system. Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. Like I said, I was a huge fan of Crash back then, and when I saw the latest game of his was out for the GameCube, I went and purchased it immediately with the leftover allowance I managed to save up. Yeah, it was tough for a kid like me to get games, because, surprise surprise, I didn't have a job. I would usually get my games and consoles through holidays and special events, but mostly I had to save up my own money to get the things I want. Which wasn't too bad for me to deal with, but I was an impatient kid, and it was hard for me to save up for a game because they were so expensive back then. Like around 50 bucks, jeez. So yeah, it took me a while to start building my collection of GameCube games, but I still persisted, and I still got a healthy amount of GameCube games to this day. I just wish I had a better place to put them. Now this is a time where I was starting to become a huge video game junkie. When my family asked me what I would want for my birthday, Christmas, or award for getting the best grades in school, I would always tell them one thing that has become consistent with me even to this day: a video game. Since I was so into video games, that's all I ever wanted: a game. I didn't care what game I got, as I was always willing to try out a variety of games. That's why most of my collection is an odd collection. Of course, I do have my fair share of Nintendo games, such as Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Metroid Prime, Paper Mario. All these games are great, and if you haven't played them yet, then what the heck is the matter with you? Play them, they are fantastic. Now, if you guys haven't noticed yet, my Nintendo collection is pretty small, isn't it? Well, believe it or not, I've never played or owned any of the GameCube Mario spin-offs. Yeah, that also includes Mario Party and Mario Kart, and I can't tell you exactly why I never owned any of them. Maybe it was because I was into other games at the time that weren't made by Nintendo, or I was more into the adventure genre rather than the party games or racing at the time, but I just ignored them. Now, by this point, you all are probably wondering right now, what exactly does all this have to do with Wario? Well, trust me guys, we're getting to that point, I promise. In fact, we're going to talk about that right now, and it involves one of the spin-off games that I never owned: Mario Golf. Now, as I said before, I never played or owned any of the Mario spin-off games. So where did I first hear about Mario Golf? At my cousin's house, of course. You see, sometimes when we were on break from school, my brother and I would visit our aunt and uncle's house just to spend some quality time together as well as with our cousins. And one of my cousins owned a Nintendo GameCube as well, and he had a couple of games that even I didn't own at the time. And one of those games were, you guessed it, Mario Golf. Toadstool Tour to be exact. And as soon as the game starts, I was immediately drawn in by this cutscene, showing Mario and Luigi golfing with the princesses. It's a good looking cutscene to this day I'm still fond of. But the next thing I immediately start seeing is these two. Yep, Wario and Waluigi. Fun fact, this is actually the first time I've seen Waluigi. I've never played or owned Mario Tennis for the N64 or Mario Party 3 until I managed to get these games years later. Mario Party 3 specifically was given to me by my auntie. And what were my first impressions seeing these two together? Very simple. I despised them. I have mentioned before that I did first see Wario in the first Mario Party game, and didn't really pay him any mind. Here though, with the updated graphics and more personality given to the characters, I was just not a fan of these two because they looked like they were made to cause trouble, and I wasn't a fan of liking bad guys. I mean, why would anyone like a character that just wants to make other people's days miserable? That was my mindset when it came to games that had good guys and bad guys in them, and I was always sticking to the hero's side because I was a goody two-shoes kid that never wanted to make trouble or like other characters that did cause trouble. Plus, these guys just looked ugly to me. The color of their clothes was unappealing to me. One looked fat and gross, the other looked skinny and stupid. Wario's got a butt for a chin, and Waluigi has... and their voices. Wasn't a fan either. Wario has that deep, mean, bully-like voice that will let you know that this guy is out for your lunch money, so watch out for your pockets. But Waluigi's was the flipping worst for me. If there's one type of voice I can't stand, its high-pitched voices, and Waluigi sounds just as bad as scratching a chalkboard. So yeah, I think you guys get the point. I hated Wario and Waluigi growing up, and I hated seeing them in more future games. But if you were to ask me which of the two I hated the most, it was Waluigi, but trust me, I'm saving my thoughts for this guy near the end of the video. So, as the years went on, while I still played a whole lot of Nintendo games, I was sticking to the characters that I was a huge fan of, Yoshi and Mario. But the thing is, my love for these characters started to diminish as I got older. I'm not sure why, but I started to like Yoshi less than I did before, and started to shift my love towards Mario for some reason. But even that love started to diminish too. I still played them, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't feeling connected to them like I used to when I was a kid, so they started to feel boring to me. I seriously don't know what caused it. Maybe because their personality was just too boring to me, or maybe I played them for so long that I was craving a new Mario character to try out with a different playstyle that suit my needs. It didn't help that I still had that mindset where I didn't like playing as a bad guy, and that most of the characters in the Mario series weren't that interesting to me. Especially Wario and Waluigi, because I just refused to play as these two. It wasn't happening. Well, that's what I had told myself years ago, but all that changed when Nintendo's next generation console was revealed, the Nintendo Wii, along with another big announcement that got me excited for the new console, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Holy cow, guys, was I ever excited when I heard that the next Smash Bros. Game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, was coming to the Nintendo Wii. I mean, I was already a fan of Smash Bros. Since the N64 days, and I never missed an opportunity to get the next game in the lineup, and hearing that the third game in the series was also going to feature characters that weren't owned by Nintendo, like Sonic and Snake, was insane. The trailers for the game were also awesome to see. Seeing other characters like Mario, Link, Kirby, and Pikachu duking it out, while other new characters started joining the fray, was like eye candy to me, and probably to a lot of other people as well. But there was one thing about this trailer that almost made me not want to get the game. Wario. Now you guys gotta remember, I still didn't like Wario during this time, and to see that he was going to be one of the new fighters for Brawl made me question why the heck would they put such an ugly character into this game. It almost made me not want to get Brawl, I'm not kidding. But I was too much of a fanboy to miss out on this game, especially for the Subspace Emissary adventure mode that the game was hyping around on. And plus, I told myself back then, it could have been worse. They could have added Waluigi to the roster as well, who I still didn't like by the way, but thankfully that wasn't the case. They just put him in as an assist trophy, which I didn't really care about back then. Now, let me tell you guys this. I have a lot of games on my Nintendo Wii, both classic and modern games, and while I had a blast playing new and old games alike, I think the game I spent the most time on was Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which should come as no surprise to most of you, but this game was just so darn fun to play, and I rarely got bored with it. Not to mention this game is loaded with content and unlockables, and I wanted to complete everything in this game. And in time, I did. I completed every challenge and unlocked a lot of cool stuff. I 100% completed the adventure mode, including unlocking the secret characters, conquered every event challenge on hard mode, as well as the 2-player co-op events, except for this mission for some reason. I'm not sure what happened there. Accomplished classic and all-star mode with every character, including the boss battles. Man, I missed these. And before anyone asks, yes, I did collect all 700 stickers in this game, along with unlocking the final trophy. But would you believe I only just recently accomplished this? Yeah, going back to this game, I realized this was the only challenge I didn't complete yet. I wasn't recording at the time, so I can't really show off me unlocking it, which sucks. But you can see the proof right here. Look at that. 2014 all the way to 2020. It took me 7 years to get everything in this game. My gosh. So yeah, I did it all in Brawl, and even though everything was set and done, That didn't stop me from playing the game constantly, especially with my family and friends. Because let me tell you, 4-player matches was always the way to play for me, especially with some of the items on. My favorite was of course the Smash Ball, which if you can manage to break, lets you unleash an ultimate damaging move. And it was also cool that every character had a different final smash to experiment with. My favorite ones being the transformation ones, letting you still control the character who's in their super state and does even more insane damage. 1v1 matches were a ton of fun as well, but sometimes I would just play by myself with the CPU, which they still offered a good challenge and were great time wasters. Whoa there, Mario, you okay there, buddy? I think you need to go to a hospital. Now, I haven't really mentioned this in the beginning, but the characters I played the most in Brawl were Mario and Yoshi, because like I said before, I loved playing as these two. Mario specifically, because as years passed, I was starting to get bored with playing as the same characters over and over again. So one day, I decided to try someone new, and out of nowhere, for some reason, I decided to give Wario a shot. Even though I still hated this character, I didn't like anything about him, I was still curious to see how this guy fights and plays, and like I said, I was bored out of my mind, so I thought, why not give it a go? So at first, I decided to check him out in training mode before I head into an actual battle with him, and wow. Yep, this is Wario in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The first thing I immediately thought was, what was up with his movement? The way he moved looked so awkward and choppy, almost similar to Mr. Game & Watch. His attacks weren't that interesting to me either. Oh look, he tripped and fell on his face. Oh look, he can ride a motorcycle, but it's hard to control and he constantly trips out of it for some reason. Oh look, he can use his own farts to attack and shoots up like a rocket. Oh gosh. He's eating his opponents. Yep, that's unsettling. Alright, let's get this over with. I got my character, pick the stage, I'm facing the level 9 CPU, and whoa, I'm taking damage. Okay, Wario's way too slow for me. Oh, come on, Wario, can your attacks move any faster, man? Alright, I got a Smash Ball. Oh, what does it do? Alright, he moves really fast for some reason. Alright, what if I use my bike and what? What? Are you serious, Wario? Pikachu got me off the edge. I'm trying to recover. No! Wario! You were right there, man! You couldn't reach that ledge with your tiny arms. Alright, I got the Smash Ball again. I'm giving it another shot. Alright, I'm doing something. I'm doing down air. What? Don't no! No! No!
The winner is Pikachu.
Yep, I'm switching back to Mario. So yeah, first time playing Wario was not fun. Immediately I wanted to switch back to Mario, but then I thought, you know what? No. I know I can win with this character. I'm not giving up just yet. I'm gonna give him another shot. So, because of my stubbornness, I gave Wario another try. And I actually wanted to focus this time. Few stocks lost, few punches thrown here and there, and
The winner is Wario.
I won? With Wario? Yup, I couldn't believe it myself either, guys. I actually won a match with Wario of all people. It was crazy. And what's even more crazier is that after that match, I still kept playing as Wario. And I kept improving with him and started to learn how his moves work. Believe it or not, I was having fun with him and started to try him out in other modes again. This time trying to get a better score. I mean, I still wasn't a huge fan of Wario or his character for that matter. But playing as him in Brawl wasn't so bad, I'm not gonna lie, and I did enjoy myself playing as him. I just wish that if he should ever come back in another Smash game, that they would improve his animations and moves, because this... Yeah, okay, let's move on. Alright, jumping a few years ahead now, the Wii U was announced and the next Smash Bros. Game was finally revealed. 2 Smash Bros. Games in fact. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. And I just want to say that these are probably the laziest and straightforward names, period. Why not just name the Wii U version Universe and the 3DS one Dimensions? Some may disagree with me with these names, but they are a lot better than the ones we got officially. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit off topic. Of course I was excited for these games, and I was definitely planning on getting both versions, one that was portable and playable in 3D, and the other with full HD graphics. And I was more excited for the HD version, as I'm sure many other people were as well. But how these games were released was kinda weird. The 3DS version of Smash was released for Japan on September 13th, 2014, but was then released internationally on October 3rd. The Wii U version of the game was then first released in the Americas in November 21st of 2014, before finally being released in Japan on December 6th. To this day, I'm still not sure why they did this, but I'm guessing they needed more time to develop different versions for the different countries. Who knows? Now, I'm not going into full detail about my experience with Smash 4, because I'm just going to be repeating what I said for Brawl, but Smash 4 was a darn good time for me, and of course it was packed with content as well as along with some new modes. Though I was kinda sad that the adventure mode was gone, the gameplay still made up for it, along with the DLC of fighters coming to the game. Man, what a time that was. But yeah, speaking of fighters, man, this game was chock full of them. It was just so darn cool seeing all these fighters in one place. But surprisingly, the one I was most curious about was Wario, because I wanted to see if they made any changes to him, and holy cow, he looks so much better here. His animations were more fluid and no longer choppy, his attacks looked way more interesting with the help of the animations, and he was a lot more expressive too. Though I was kinda concerned as to why they took away his shoulder bash, which I honestly liked in Brawl because it had super armor at the start of his attack. But I learned how to adapt in time, and honestly, this is where I was starting to really like Wario. His playstyle was just so darn fun to me, and I just kept playing him over and over and over again. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to learn this character and try to be the best I can be with him, and I definitely wanted to test my skills with him online, and let's just say, I was killing it with him. But as I kept playing as Wario, I was starting to get more curious about his personality. What was he like outside of the Smash Bros. Series? I mean, I've heard from many people that Wario was gross, greedy, always wants treasure and wants nothing but treasure, and has no kindness whatsoever, and was just a full-blown villain. But was all this really true? I really wanted to see it for myself. But then I remembered that Wario had his own game series called Wario Land, which was like a treasure hunting adventure based game. And I also remembered that the Wii U eShop had a Game Boy game called Wario Land 4 that was on sale for like $8. So I thought, why not? I'll buy this game and give it a shot. And so I did. And when first starting the game, my first thoughts were, what the heck kind of game was I playing? I mean, the game looked cool, I was really into the graphics, they looked really nice for Game Boy standards, but the intro made me question what the heck was going on. The first thing I see is a dog inside an alleyway looking freaked out for some reason. Then it cuts to an almost weird looking realistic man's legs. A car starts up, it almost runs over a cat, holy shoot, and we see a news article about some ancient treasure. And then the shadowy figure in the car just happens to be Wario. I mean, Wario is from the same world as Mario, so I was expecting some Mario stuff happening too. But no, this game is nothing like traditional Mario, and I guess that's what the intro was trying to tell me. So the next thing I see when starting a new file is Wario heading to the same pyramid I saw in the newspaper. He goes into the pyramid and finds that same cat from before and follows it into the unknown. Then the tutorial happens, and I gotta say, getting the hang of the controls did feel a bit weird to me, but it was so fun to tackle other things in this game, a lot more than jumping on them. That was one of the things I immediately fell in love with about this game that made it stand out from Mario. Then, my first boss battle, which I was up against a cute looking tomato. And then I thought to myself, okay, this is the first area, of course it's going to be an easy boss. But then I start chipping its health down, and then the thing starts showing its ugly side. Literally. I was like, holy shoot, I did not see that coming. And then I learned that I had to hit the thing from behind to start dealing damage to him. And sure enough, I took him down. After beating him, I saw a small version of the pyramid come out in the middle of the room for some reason, and my next thought was, oh boy, what have I gotten myself into? So, long story short, I love this game. It was nothing like the games I played before, and it always surprised me with every level I completed. The awesome soundtrack, which, not my favorite, but still a good listen regardless. The way Wario powers up greatly differs how Mario does, and it was so funny to see Wario transform in so many different ways. The fact that you had to go back to the beginning of the level to complete it was something I was not expecting at all, but always look forward to, not only because of the music, but the level also changes as well, adding a little puzzle to completing the stage. It's great. And the bosses. Most of them were a fun time, though my least favorite was Aerodent. You have to try to throw these spiked dudes to the teddy bear's butt, and then hit the rat that comes out of the teddy bear's head. The problem is, when you try to hit the rodent, you'll sometimes hit the teddy bear balloon higher in the air, and it becomes harder to hit the rat. Now, I wouldn't have too much of a problem with this if it weren't for the time limit you're given for each boss battle, which gets shorter the higher the difficulty, and because of it, made me hate this boss the most. But yeah, I did beat this game in all its hard difficulty, and started over to try again. I told you guys, this game was a blast, and was fun to complete. The ending though, kinda threw me off. After defeating the final boss and depending on how much treasure you collect, the cat is actually a princess named Shakura, and she transforms back into her true self because apparently she was cursed. Then, out of nowhere, she thanks Wario and kisses him. That's something I never thought I'd see, but it was nice, I guess? But after that, she suddenly flies away, going back to heaven, I'm guessing? This game is whack, man. But after that, the credits roll, and we see Wario with all the treasure he's collected, looking as happy as he can be. And I really liked how Wario was reminiscent about the crazy adventure he just had with these nice looking images, along with the credits music, because, good gosh, this ending made me respect Wario a little more than I ever thought I would. Alright, let's get into the real juicy stuff now. After Wario Land 4, I already wanted to try another Wario game out to see what I've been missing. And there was this one Wario Land game I really wanted to play, mostly because I spoiled myself with its soundtrack. Wario Land Shake It. And would you believe it took me forever to find this game? At first I tried looking for a physical copy of the game, but I could not find it anywhere, no matter where I looked. I'd much rather have a physical copy of the game rather than digitally, because I just loved the box art of the games they had inside them. It just made me even more excited whenever I got a new game. But unfortunately I ended up with a digital version of the game, which wasn't bad, but the wait I had to endure for Nintendo to release it for the Wii U eShop was a flipping nightmare. But all that said and done, I finally got the game and I was hoping I was in for a good time. And boy howdy did I have a good time. When I first saw the cinematic intro of the game, I just fell in love with it. I was kind of bummed there was no voice acting though. I think it would have made this intro 10 times better, but it's still a great watch regardless, and this is probably the lowest point we'll ever see Wario in, as he is now living in his garage. At least I think that's his garage, I'm not sure. But as soon as I start playing this game, I loved it. All of it. 100% pure gold in my eyes. The animations, the gameplay, Wario himself. I just loved how this game looked to me. I couldn't put this game down for a while. Wario though? I never thought of him as epic or amazing, but this game proved me dead wrong, just showing how powerful and capable Wario is. I mean, Wario Land 4 did introduce me to Wario's abilities first, as well as Smash, but to me, it felt more impactful here, especially with the help of the music. Speaking of the music, let's talk about this soundtrack. I love it, I love it, I love it. This music completely caught me off guard when I first heard it, because I was expecting a soundtrack similar to Wario Land 4, honestly. But oh boy, was I in for a surprise. Each stage was a blast to play through, and even more excited when you head right back to the stage, as the music changes dramatically, which is awesome. This game also has a crud ton of stuff to do and collect. The treasures were nice to grab, but the real jewels were the CDs you get when you complete a stage's set of challenges, which took me a while to complete right away, but a good challenge regardless. But after going through all the levels and defeating the final boss, I was treated to yet another lovely cutscene, showing the princess thanking Wario for his heroism, but Wario just wants the money and just chucks her away. To this day, this scene still makes me laugh. But then, when Wario returns home, he shakes the bottomless coin sack and it's raining money. Wario's dream came true. But after that, I was also treated to the lovely credits music, and I was happy to have beat the game. But then I realized something had snapped inside my head, and I suddenly felt something I never thought I'd felt before. That's when it hit me. I suddenly realized that I fell in love. Yes guys, I couldn't believe it myself either. After completing Wario Land Shake It, I was in love with this character, and I couldn't deny it. The gameplay of Shake It, the energetic music I never thought I expected to hear from a guy like Wario, the animations, the characters, which I didn't know who Captain Syrup was at first, but after doing some research, it turns out she's Wario's treasure hunting rival from past Wario games, which I have yet to play, but it was cool to see her come back and help Wario for a change. For her own self-interest, because it turns out that she made a deal with Murphle that she would get the magic coin sack if she gets Wario to save the day. Poor Wario, all that hard work and he gets nothing in the end. But this is another ending that I oh so enjoy. And yeah, this whole game was just surprising to me, because it had all this awesome sounding music, great levels and gameplay, and the main character who I never thought would have a game like this was Wario of all people. Wario, the guy that I've heard from so many people about how he's gross, money hungry, selfish, and just overall a mean and unlikable person. And while some of those aspects of Wario are true, I honestly don't think he's a bad guy at all. I mean, sure, Wario has done some nasty stuff in the past, and he still has that like to show off because he's a jerk personality, but believe it or not, he does have some good things about him. Ever since I finally admitted to myself that I started to love Wario, I've not only been playing as him a lot in more future games, but I've also been doing a lot of research about him and trying to find out just who exactly Wario is and what the heck is his personality all about. I found out some interesting things about him that no one really talks about for some reason. In fact, you should check out my top 5 facts about Wario videos if you haven't yet, because I still believe those facts hold up. But even then, I'm still doing research on him, because I feel like there's so much more to Wario we haven't seen yet, and that's mostly because he's only been in spin-off games nowadays. That's why to me, the ending of Wario Land Shake It, as well as the music, was so powerful and sad to me, because today when I think about it, this was probably the last Wario Land game we're going to see for a while, and it has been for the longest time. Wario Land Shake It came out in 2008, and we are in 2020. It's been 12 years since we've heard anything about a new Wario game, and back then my younger self could care less about this, but now, since I have a newfound respect and love for Wario, it just makes me sad, man. And that's why I've also been keeping a close eye on Wario and in every game he's been in. I have been carefully observing his voice, animations, his attitude, his antics, what he likes and what he hates, everything. Because like I said before, people had all these claims on Wario, which some were true, but with some of the things that Wario does and says behind the scenes, I believe there is more to his personality than what people make him out to be. That's why after beating Wario Land Shake It, I was so obsessed with him and just wanted to know everything about him, because I was one of those people that just hated him for being a bad guy and not really giving him a chance. And me having a YouTube channel mostly focused on him, I guess it's my way of apologizing to him for thinking he was dumb. But no, he is so much more, and I hope to spread that knowledge to everyone with this dumb YouTube channel of mine. Now some of you may be wondering, why would I make such a long video about this one video game character? Well, 3 reasons. 1, I have been planning on making something like this for a while now, and some people have been asking me for a long time why do I love Wario so much, so I wanted to make a video like this entertaining as possible. 2. I have been delaying this video for such a long time now. I should have finished this video last year, but my dumb lazy self couldn't find the motivation or time to do it with what's been going on with my life. So I decided to make this video long enough to say thank you guys for your patience and hoping that a long video like this was worth the wait. And 3, I flipping love this character! Wario is my absolute favorite character of all time, and he is someone that I will never, ever get tired of. No matter how many times I play him, no matter how many times I lose with him, I will keep playing Wario until I'm dead. You hear me? Dead! And no one will ever take his place in my eyes as the #1 goofiest, most epic anti-hero that ever lived. I do hope that one day we'll see Wario bask in his glory days again, but until then, I'll keep supporting Wario by playing as him constantly and try to prove the world that Wario is #1. But, alright, I've been delaying this long enough. I think it's about time I explain to you guys why I don't like Wario's supposedly partner in crime, Waluigi. Now, I'm not going to be spending too long on this guy because this video is long enough as is, but straight to the point, I just flippin' hate this guy. His whole appearance just looks lazy to me, and I heard that the only reason he exists was that so Wario could have a tennis partner. Because apparently Mario and his friends wouldn't want to team up with someone like Wario because they're buttholes. So with Wario being desperate to join the tennis crew and to take on Mario and Luigi, he ends up finding the man filling in as the doubles partner known as Waluigi, who apparently doesn't like Luigi for some reason. And the two teams just have a feud. And that's what I hate about this rivalry, honestly. It just sort of happens with no explanation as to why Waluigi hates Luigi in the first place. I mean, I know this is Mario we're talking about, but at least Mario and Wario had some beef with each other in Super Mario Land 2. Heck, they even had their own comic book explaining their rivalry as well as their past. Luigi and Waluigi, however, they just have an angry staring competition and they're suddenly rivals now. I'm sorry, but I just can't take this rivalry seriously. Especially since Waluigi has nothing going on for him that makes him stand out, besides the ridiculous upside down L on his cap. As far as I've seen of Waluigi, he has no powers, barely any personality besides being a jerk most of the time, does mostly the same thing everyone else can do in spin-off games, and is apparently obsessed with pinball for some reason. There is really nothing about this character that really impresses me at all, and for me, I don't really get why so many people like this character so much. I mean, most people like him because he's just a ridiculous, wacky looking character that is occasionally funny at times, and there's nothing wrong with that. Heck, even I will admit that some of the antics that Waluigi has pulled off with Wario do get a chuckle out of me. But you gotta be more than just funny to grab my love and attention. And for Wario, he's not only funny, but he's also more in spades. And he's proven that to me in his games. And honestly, his voice just irritates the flip out of me. It's like Daisy's, but I feel it's just a little bit worse with just how high-pitched his voice can be at times. And it's especially annoying when you hear the same phrases over again in certain games. Say Mario Tennis, for example. And guys, I know, the guy that voices Wario is also the same guy that voices Waluigi, Charles Martinet. And please don't think that I'm insulting the man, because he is a fantastic voice actor, and I still think he voices all 4 of the mustachios perfectly. But I'm not gonna lie when I say I can't stand Waluigi's voice. Heck, I don't even like the baby Mario and Luigi voices that much either. I guess I'm more into deep voices than high-pitched ones, because Waluigi does not have a deep voice. Also, remember when I said that to me, Waluigi doesn't have much personality? Well, in some games, he just seems to have the same grumpy face in almost every game he's in. A few games, I can kinda see him popping a smile every once in a while, but most of the time, this dude just looks mean, grumpy, and really looks like he wants nothing to do with anything. Compared to Wario though, he can still have a grumpy look at times, but most of the time, he looks happy, and he's someone that I would much rather play. I just can't tell whether Waluigi is smiling or not when he wins sometimes. Maybe it's just me, but bottom line is, Wario is definitely a lot more expressive in my eyes. Not to mention, Wario's design nowadays looks a lot more alive and colorful to me. rather than Waluigi's purple and black depressing outfit. And honestly guys, it still bugs the flip out of me that this man has an upside down L on his cap and gloves when the first letter in his name starts with a flipping W. Anyways, I think you guys get the point already about how I feel about Waluigi. He's just not a character that I'm really fond of, and I know this guy has his fans, but not me. And I hope you guys aren't thinking I'm like insulting anybody that likes this character, because no, that was never my intention. I know that I have some fans that actually like Waluigi, and I hope you continue to do so. I'm not going to give anybody crud for something they honest to God love. That's not who I am, nor ever will be. I just hope there are some decent fans out there that can actually respect my opinion. But I know I'm gonna run into some toxic fans in the future. There's always some. But I'm actually not done with my thoughts on Waluigi just yet. In fact, I'll talk more about him once I start talking about Rosalina in her own special video. But she can wait. Oh, she can wait. But yeah guys, that's the story of how I fell in love with the greatest character that ever exists, Wario. I'm sorry if this video wasn't too detailed for some of you that like long videos, but I felt I kept you guys waiting long enough for this, and honestly, if I were to keep going about my deep love and obsession for Wario, then this video would be at least an hour long. So maybe another time when I have a better schedule, but I really hope this video was something you guys have been waiting to see, and I'm so happy to finally get it done and over with, because believe it or not, I've got another project coming up soon. Some of you might have guessed it, but it's another montage. A special one at that, featuring my two favorite characters and mains, Wario and Rosalina. But I know some of you may have been wondering for a long time now, just what exactly is so special about this one? Well, let's just say I had some help with this one. But I feel I owe you guys something as a big thank you for your patience on this cruddy video that shouldn't have taken me so long to complete. So with that said, here's just a small sneak peek of what you'll expect to see in the next Wario and Rosalina montage.